Namaste, Galactic family. Welcome back to the channel IndigoAngel. Come on into this dimension. Come on into this update that I've wanted to put together about planetary modification technology and just kind of briefly go over some of the things that I'm aware of from all of my grid working studies and experience being a grid worker facilitator. And so it was something I had talked about wanting to do from the last video that I put out. And today I'm going to get into it. So welcome if you're new. And if you're returning, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell, put a big like on this video. If you've been following the channel for a while and you like the content, and please comment and share to help me continue to grow on YouTube. And so things have been a little crazy for me, guys. Last night was a really rough night for me. I think I got food poisoning last night. I ate a chicken sandwich, maybe around 1 o'clock. Tasted a little strange, took about 4 bites of it, my stomach just wasn't really liking it. So I put it down, didn't think anything else of it. And then about 4 hours later, I was essentially vomiting and the worst stomach pains and cramps you could ever imagine. So I'm really surprised that I'm up and filming today. My hair is a little crazy. It's actually, I brushed it out from the trauma of last night, but so it's a little poofy and all that. But yeah, it was just a really rough night. I think last night is the sickest I have been in a really long time. Had to get the heating pad out. The heating pad saved my life. If I didn't have the heating pad, I probably wouldn't be here today. So, yeah, stuff's going around right now. I know there's a re-upset of the La Cucaracha that's starting to kind of make its way around again. So just want to give everybody a heads up. You might want to be doubling up on your vitamins and just really focusing on your health. Don't be doing nothing too crazy at this time. You know, I think right now, because things have just been so difficult all year, that a lot of people have really been struggling with self-sabotage and addiction and things like this. So if that's you, because it's been me at certain times where I've given into, certain things to try to numb my pain body, particularly for me, cannabis, even though it is a healing, it can be very medicinal in a lot of ways. Overusage of it can also be detrimental to your health as well. So just try to cut back on things. You know what I mean? Try to stick to more natural things. That's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm recovering from last night's upset with some tea. It's called Stomach Ease, just to try to help me kind of get through what I'm going through. Still recovering from it. I can still feel the hot flashes kind of coming and going, where my body's still trying to repair and catch up from things coming up and out of me last night. So I don't know why I'm being so honest with you guys right now. It's just what I went through, and it was an experience, you know what I mean? And so I'm just sharing it. And but I did wanted to make the announcement that we are about to start the implant and seal removal course this Thursday, August 31st at 12 p.m. CST. So we've had quite a few sign up for the course already. So I'm really excited. I've been spending all of my time putting together all of the curriculum, basically. Even just the first class itself, my intro to the course and the curriculum overview, it's going to be pretty extensive. We're going to be talking about the types of seal and implant systems. We're going to be talking about how they connect to significant timelines, root races, the collective revival. And then we're going to talk about how to identify implants and seals and holographic blockages. And then we're going to go into a lot of the technicalities of simply just being a facilitator, simply just being a, delivering the removal sessions. That's what the certification is all about, is getting those that are joining to the point that they can do these implant seal removals for clients under a level of a methodology that is proven to work. And knowing that you are being very efficient and being very thorough within what you're doing, and making sure that you are actually indeed removing all implants and seals to these particular system sets, such as the J seals and the Draco seals. So I've been trying to build this nice package in which can really support the facilitator with their removals. And so we'll be going over meditation warm-ups, preparing the light, body, and chakras for remote access. As you know, there is a process to remoting into someone else's field, and making sure that you're kind of going about the removals in a way that covers all your bases, right? Sealing and protecting the light body field, opening up the chakras, setting shields, setting protection if needed. And so there can be a lot that goes into that maybe some people might not be as familiar with. And so I try to cover all the bases, even for the beginners, and provide all of the resources necessary to help even beginners kind of get up to speed with this type of holographic energy reading process, because that's what it ultimately takes, is a lot of remote viewing. And so I did recently put the remote viewing video up on the channel. If you are already enrolled in the course, I highly recommend you start just by watching that video. It is also under the Thinkific course, under the first day's curriculum. So if you want to go in and just download it and start kind of studying that video, I think it can give you a heads up before we start diving into all of the other information. We're also going to go over seal and implant, the most effective removal technique that I've come to know. Essentially, we're going to be going over what all of those qualities of a removal process and technique looks like. I'm also going to give different variations of it as well. One of those being a technique to clear the 7th tonal line, which is truly where the J seals are located in the body. Okay. And also I'm going to throw in a universal tree of life clearing, and also a liquid light cleanse as well for aftercare, after seal removal, if you choose to do that. And also going to be offering a book that I wrote. It's a series of visualizations that people can use to focus on expanding the higher mind. And so that has about 17 techniques according to the structures of your bioenergetic field, and also the consciousness field of the mind, and getting one more open. So again, if you're a beginner and you need tools and resources, I'm going to have everything available in this course. It's going to be very thorough. I take my teachings really seriously. I'm so looking forward to diving into this with all of you. I've been working on it the entire month of August, because I'm a total perfectionist and OCD. So I've been just wanting to make sure I have all of my ducks in a row. So just so you guys know, today and tomorrow, up until the 31st, technically 12 p.m. CST, is going to be kind of the time where you're going to want to get in. You're going to want to get there so you can make it to the first course day. But you can continue to sign up, after the course has started, essentially, because all of the videos are going to be on downloads and replays. All of my courses are lifetime access to the downloads and replays. And it's important that I do that, because this is such a vast quantity of information that you'll need to integrate, that all 4 of these seal systems will take time to really bring all the information in, truly learn it. And so same with my Gridwork Facilitator course. That is also still up and available. You guys just want to go to learn.indigoangel222.com. I do have a 10% off coupon code in the description for both courses. I may have a 20% off for my Gridwork Facilitator course. So just check down the description. I'll see what I'm going to pop in there as I do upload this video after I record it. So I'll make sure to leave some coupon codes for you guys. But I think this is all really relative at this time. It's important to know that these seals have a great impact and contribution on what I'm going to be talking about today in this update, which is planetary modification technology. Planetary Earth installed weapon systems, Armageddon systems, diabolical doomsday weapons of mass chaos and destruction. And it just feels really relevant to the continuous global events that are taking place, something that I think the deep dive on this information is necessary. I don't think it should be unacknowledged, so to speak. Just getting a message here for a second. Let me take a drink here. My tummy is still a little bit sensitive, you guys. Especially when you threw up for about 5 times in a row. It takes a little bit of a toll on you. You have to kind of build your strength back up. But I think many are waking up to planetary modification technology. It's something I've really been talking about for a long time with the grid work. As you know, I'm kind of I'm a light worker, but I'm also a shadow worker in the sense that for a lot of years of my grid work, I've been really driven into the reversal energies. I mean, the last 2 grid worker events that I did reversal stargates. So it's because I've been, for one, I'm very self-experimental in my own personal spiritual pursuits. So I like to challenge myself. I like to understand the mechanics of vortices, stargates, the technology of grid work in general, the holographic blueprint of the planetary divine energies, and the holographic reality in which we live in. And so I've been kind of driven to understand reversal mechanics and also how to correct them, because for me, it's all about, correction, being a light warrior, going in and extracting. And so it's definitely been a very passionate mission that I've had. And I think it's something that I will continue to do in my work going forward. I have been, as I've talked about before, considering doing a reversal grid worker event. I was thinking Los Angeles, but my attention recently has been diverted maybe now to Las Vegas, and doing something like that in the summer of 2024. So over the coming months, I'll probably start to get together what the next reversal mission will be. But I also want to express that I don't want to continue to just focus on reversal systems. I have to tell you guys, it has taken a huge toll on me going in and battling all of the darkness in these reversal systems. It has definitely taken a toll on my personal light body, essentially, like my own personal health in a lot of ways. Especially after Rome. Rome was extremely difficult for me. The attacks there were just so intense. The evil there is real. And it definitely infiltrates your astral consciousness, your astral field, your astral body. And it took me about 3 months to fully extract that energy out of my astral field post leaving Rome. But then it's taken me the entirety of this year just to rebuild my light body because it became very weak from the attacks. So I'm not discouraging people from doing these reversal systems because it's needed work. I mean, if more people stood together and were on the same page with correcting the reversal energies and extracting evil out of this earth, I don't think it would take such a toll on me. You know what I mean? But I've been the sacrificial lamb in some ways, I feel, with trying to gather the information. but I do feel I've been guided to do it for a reason. I'm very technologically minded, so it is going in a bunch of writings that I have. I've been writing and preparing to publish literature and works for a very long time. It's just a process of me getting it all together, but to have the experiences is a priceless thing. And it makes my writing and my work that much better to actually have that boots on the ground experience. So I'm thankful for everything that I've done and pursued within my grid work, but just know it's not for newbies. It's not for the super lighthearted. You definitely have to be a very strong spiritual warrior to do this type of work, and which many of you are. And I had such a beautiful team with me in Washington, D.C. We're all actually still very close in a lot of ways. A lot of us came together for the last remote session that I had on the coastal clearing. So thank you everyone who came. It was so good to see your faces again. And but anyways, going back to planetary modification technology, this is how I've come to be able to read the holographic nature and astral warfare of this technology. And I just think that many are waking up to this a lot more now, given the global fire events of what's been going on with the existence of all of this negative Earth warfare technology. So again, this was something that I wanted to do a video on for a while, just to highlight many versions of planetary modification and weapon systems. This honestly is a video that could go on forever, because the weapon systems and technology, I mean, I could write like a 500-page book on this. So I'm not going to be able to cover a lot of things, but I can cover some things today. If you're not familiar to the dark side of interdimensional Earth warfare, this is the battle of the aeons. This is the battle royale of humanity. This is the battle of total planetary global domination and control. So I don't have all of the technology to share with you, but I have some, again, that I've discovered through grid working. So the controllers on the Earth are dominating the Earth now, and they are manipulating human beings in a multitude of ways. It's so much more than you can possibly even imagine. And much of the technology works deep within the holographic reality of Earth, which makes it even more difficult to identify. So again, you have to really have sort of a trained eye for this sort of thing, which I think the collective and the higher consciousness community is waking up to more and more. But a lot of these technologies, they really tie in most extensively with the frequency fences. A lot of this stems from Atlantis. This is what the fall of Atlantis was about. Planetary modification technology, global domination and control. And so if you're familiar with Ashiana Dean's work, she has written extensively about the different types of frequency fences. So what pertains to the modification planetary technology the most is the Falcon and the Aquilin matrices, or I think what she calls it, the White Eagle grid. I just call it the Aquilin matrices because I feel like on a cosmic level, this is all coming back to a celestial system, which is the Aquilin system. The three Stymphalian birds, which are a trinity of very powerful celestial energy in the Northern Hemisphere that I think really do with the height of celestial power and what's in domination and control here on the Earth, even when it comes to the indigos. The Cygnus system is a part of this, and the Lyran system as well. But I've talked about the Falcon and the Aquilin matrices. These are control frequency fence overlays on the planet that run patriarchal domination codes. And this, with the Aquilin matrices, this is the immortal Aquila, this is the immortal Birdman, the immortal Nephilim, Elohim, Anunnaki Father principles, Christendom quest. We'll just put it the three Abrahamic religion quest. to be the biggest and strongest and most alphas organized collective bodies in unification immediately following a post-apocalyptic world. I say this because there's many meanings for why these exist. Again, it is to keep power and control no matter what happens on this earth. So as much planetary modification technology they have, the more control they have, anything post-apocalyptic to continue to exemplify that control on the earth. Sorry, my speech is a little crazy right now. The Georgia Guidestones really exemplified this when they were still standing. I did a lot of research on this. You can find all of this in my blogs on my website at IndigoAngel222.com. So just be sure to sign up for newsletters as well, because I'm always sending stuff out in writing. But having many of these technologies solidified inside the Earth's grids. So this is from previous generations, previous root race existence, Atlantean timeline, beginning actually at the end of the Lemurian Holocaust, and through holographic technology that's deeply seated into the race morphogenetic field and the Hall of Memory. So there's many different ways in which this consciousness exists within a collective field, basically. So when we're thinking about planetary modification technology, we're thinking about laser beams, we're thinking about directed energy weapons, we're thinking about, you know, the crafts, the UAPs that the military control, basically. Those are all like categories of it. But it comes back to the inorganic artificial matrices that are running inside of the earth that are coming from wormhole systems, fallen systems. So I'm going to kind of explain this progression of how we get to where we are. Most of this in which supports New World death orders, okay? That's kind of what's happening, the Agenda 2030, everything that's going on with the US currency and the BRICS dollar and the digital currency and just the oligarchs of the United States and, you know, everything that's going on, right? Like what's happening is it's a hyper astral exploitation in the lower dimensional tumultuous fields. So this is the fundamentals of it. On a spiritual level, is that it's implementing harvesting into the fallen systems. They use this to harvest and to feed the negative silicon-based structures, opening up portals to greater wormhole systems. It's basically a giant feeding system, and it's the reason why we are in a 21st century technological war against humanity. And one of the most important aspects of this that I think we continue to not wake up our eyes to is the important component of militarization and the dark military on this earth. It's a very real thing. There are many layers and levels of dark military. And it's an important aspect of this because this is the core energy of the Achillean control matrix. Okay, it runs through the hierarchy of the of countries, of rulerships, of monarchies, of Willy Wonka, of government, and of the dark military and military in general. So I think we have to wake up to the power of dark military negative ET operations. I feel personally, as this is how these weaponized planetary systems get implemented into existence in the first place, secret programs of the deep state, essentially. And these are very ancient technologies going back 500,000 years on the planet. This stuff may seem new because of current events and what's going on. And we're thinking, for some people, it may seem new. For a lot of you who are deep researchers and you are, you know, in the woo-woo community, essentially, you know this stuff goes back a long time. But I mean, I've done videos and videos extensively talking about how the particle accelerators were an activated technology that was running in Atlantis. There was hundreds of them in Atlantis. And I do think that they were used during that time and deeply contributed to the fall of Atlantis, the fall of man, particle accelerators, and is the reason for all of the brain scrambling of that time and all of the amnesia, illness, sickness, and disease of humans, because it's from continual weakening of the Earth's magnetic field. They can weaken the collective human memory field, because the magnetic field is what contributes to the health of our memory, essentially. And then also by degrading the land. And then they can actually create rips and times in the space continuum. They can create the wormholes. They can create the reversal vortices with particle accelerators. So I think that in itself is a major planetary modification weapon that we continue to allow on this Earth. I do feel, though, overall that I think the foundation for planetary modification technology is underground bases and tunnels. Underground bases and facilities are essentially all over the world, as you guys know, as a lot of us talk about here on YouTube. As we have seen with the Maui fires, some of these bases were connected to the Greys, and Grey bases that were running military weapons, genetic experiments, timeline programs, artificial intelligence, holographic inserts, human abductions, tagging, tracking, and astral plane manipulation for generating artificial timelines. All of this really ties into my implant and seal removal course in a lot of ways. So I might cover aspects of this in the course as it comes up, because in the J seal removal, sorry, let me drink some more tea here. My stomach is very sensitive today. In the J seal removal, in the center of the chest, there is something called a Zeta seal. The Zeta seal is what connects the body to the fallen technology. It connects the body to the frequency fences. It works within the reversal field grid networks, and it has manifested independent harm from their technology of military weapons. And so it's one particular distortion that I'd like to bring to your attention, particularly when doing J-seal removal, because what I have seen personally is that a lot of abductions actually come through the Zeta seal. A lot of times I've seen it basically not sealed, like it will be opened, there will be tracker tags, there will be locator tags, there will be negative alien artificial machinery left inside of the body. There will be portals to parallel systems where aspects of the astral or spirit body are actually hijacked in another timeline of abduction. And so it's a holographic implant, but it's a real thing that is being used to basically distort the astral plane layers in the heart complex to block the fourth DNA strand to access higher intelligence, also to access what are the nadial structures of the human central nervous system. And it communicates with the circulatory system of the heart. And so they can actually send electrical impulses, minor EMPs to the Zeta seal. And they can essentially really block all of your webbing of your energetic receivers and transmitters to keep you in a disempowered state. And so I think that the Zeta seal in general is a frequency fence of the biological body. So this also in itself is a planetary modification technology that would link into these underground bases and the frequency fences that they run on a greater scale from the underground bases, so to speak. And the underground bases have been at the core of how the mechanics, the fires in Maui would have been implemented. We all know this, right? That it was a directed attack, and it was implemented for their strategic agendas of extermination, for billionaire oligarchy land grabs, and also child trafficking. And somehow I've heard that Oprah is now involved in this as well. I guess she's bought up thousands of, square footage and just continues to buy more. And so somehow she's also getting tied and linked to this as potentially being someone who's under investigation of being potentially responsible for the fires, which is kind of an interesting plot twist in all of this, isn't it? But yeah, they're using the laser beams, they're using the blue beam technology, they're using scalar wave beam weapons and shields, reflectors and targets. They have hijacked Nikola Tesla technology, and they're all utilizing it against humanity from the underground bases, particularly the gray facilities. But it's not just the gray facilities. This is coming from a multitude of different departments of types of negative aliens and also negative dark military organizations on the Earth. There are a variety of different types of underground styles of bases used, but I think the most detrimental kind in terms of planetary modification and technology are nuclear underground power plants, underground nuclear weapon assembly plants, which they majorly have all through the United States, the Kennesaw Mountains, and also underground nuclear tunnelers, which is how they, continue to make tunnels and open up wormhole systems into black hole systems. So a lot of this is riding along the Appalachian Trail. It's really everywhere, but that's one that I most recently researched. I was looking up the actual, technology of what these underground tunnelers look like, and it leaves nuclear radiation waste inside of the Earth. That in turn continues to make that lower dimensional warfare even more tumultuous when the Earth is having to clear out nuclear spores. And so this is a huge aspect of why we have disincarnated spirits, why we have spirits that can't actually go through the reincarnation or life and death proper processes, that they get stuck in capsules, they get stuck in timelines, they get stuck in rips and tears in the space-time continuum. And it's just really a big old mess here in terms of natural and organic spiritual ascension processes here on the Earth because of how polluted the lower astral fields are because of the nuclear bases and nuclear warfare that's happening. And again, most of these bases contain extensive tunnel systems that connect directly into alien base wormhole systems. So even if the base in Maui wasn't a gray base, there's probably a wormhole system that would connect it into that because they're all connected. I feel there has been an evolution of these underground bases because this concept of underground bases isn't like new, like the DUNS with the current military, like this is just a spin-off of technology that's been here since Atlantis, basically. The concept originally came from the 24 artificial crystal temples. So these were originally 24 main Nibirian resistant force under base temples, controller bases on the Earth from Atlantis. So I think this is I think it actually came down from the Dracos, to be honest with you, because they were subterranean in the first place about 500,000 years ago. And it was one of the ways in which they implemented the Holocaust on the Lemurians was coming up through those underground bases. But this was then reorganized, as you know, Anunnaki or Nibirian Anunnaki are underlords to the Dracos. Okay, so they would have been taught how to implement thousands of these all over the Earth, started with 24 main locations that run the network. And these were the bases of underground DUMs in the Atlantean time. And these were very hidden in the Earth's body and are said to be using cloaking forces to not actually be seen. Now, this is probably technology that they're using currently on current DUMs, but essentially I do believe that these still exist today, but they are cloaked. And so they can be subterranean. They are underwater in some locations, particularly in the Gulf of Aden. It's really hijacked over there. Jerusalem, Saudi Arabia, the Red Sea, Egypt. A lot of this is really heavily going on over there, but really truly all over the world. And this really affects indigos and starseeds, those that are, our bodies are organic. We're not designed for all of this inorganic stuff. So what it does is it's placing little blue plugs and seals between them and the earth. But blocking the connections to the crystal body matrices, disconnecting them from the Earth's inherent crystal frequency. Again, this is all about crystal warfare. So they want to hijack the connection to crystal energy. And so that's kind of a big deal. Let me take a drink. Now, another big contributor to planetary modification weapon systems is looking glass technology. So these technologies manipulate time and space, and I think this is a huge part of what Blue Beam is about. And they create spin-offs of artificial realities and artificial timelines, which in itself create damage in the organic time and space fields. And the design of this is called looking glass technology. It's a time travel system given to military complex and is being used by both gray aliens and human military in this timeline. This technology presently sits in the United States Capitol building. And this was implemented, I do believe, under Eisenhower. This was something that I think we briefly got into when I got to talk to Laura Eisenhower, but this was something that we visually seen holographically when we visited the Capitol building in DC. So they're running in the reflecting pool in front of the Capitol building. And this is it's encoding entirely through the Atlantic oceanic codes, land points that served under the Atlantean rule. So the looking glass technology actually spreads through the Atlantic Ocean and then hits all points of the Atlantic coast where Atlantis existed, essentially, and runs through particular ley lines, majorly down to the Canary Islands. So if we want to talk about why the Canary Islands is always literally having volcanoes erupt or major fires, I mean, I don't think the Spanish islands can catch a break. That's one place that's highly, highly attacked for a deeper reason that I need to look into and find out, like, what are they hiding over there? Like, what's going on? Like, is it a direct inner Earth gate access system similarly to Hawaii? It could be. But this is on inorganic technology. And when they do all of these time travels, many times what they see are probable events that are limited to their current mental perception. So they could be going in and altering the timelines, again, pairing this with the Beast Machine or Trons, the particle accelerators. And many just do not know their limited mental perception is not the organic ascension timeline that is being trumped by their artificial technology inserts of their timelines. This is something I've been becoming more and more aware of in my own reality, is how much artificial timelines are hijacking my perception. And I think it's one of the reasons why it's been hard to transcend a low frequency for long periods of time during this year, is all of this technology is really amped up at its highest capacity, worse than I've ever seen or felt it before. And so, again, these long spouts of, going back into these self-sabotaging type behaviors and addictive patterns, and really having a hard time getting through the lower vibrations and not kind of really being able to ride the higher timelines has been very, very difficult for many. A lot of shadow work has been necessary this year. It's because of those inserts of looking glass technology. Through that, they also project symbols. So the looking glass technology also runs to the lunar bases as well. And they use the dark lunar forces to insert symbol codes that reflect back through the collective subconscious imagery. And also it's another way of implementing mind control through the firmament. This also ties back into blue beam technology and underground base use of frequency fences. So all of this planetary modification technology is working together. It's all one thing that links into the other thing that makes these systems run, which ultimately go back to beast machines. So this is kind of like a holographic concept of a beast machine. I liken it to the Seal of Solomon and the Staff of Moses, and that it is an alien machinery technology held in place in the planetary body through massive levels of reversal AI collective mind control and programming. This infects the black subtle forces in the Earth's elemental field. Someone sent me a video the other day of black sound. I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's basically a sound that's so dark and so intrusive or so vital that it can shatter glass, it can break things. So this is kind of how they're using it. They're using black subtle forces in the Earth's elemental field. They're using it through light and sound and through dark matter and the parasitic metatronic invasion. This is technically what it is. They're invading with black subtle forces into the flower of life geometry. This is a holographic beast machine. This is the Metatronic implant. This is the inverted universal tree of life. Okay, so this is the fundamental spiritual basis of how the beast machines have power. The trons are the alien machinery that are parts of the beast machine plugs that act as magnetic strongholds via magnetic field manipulation and rod and staff manipulation, affecting blank slate amnesic and invasion technology. And again, that goes back to particle accelerators. That's one way they can open up these fields and get into these dimensions. An older example of this, which is still existing today, but goes back to the Atlantean time, is the Temple of Apollyon, which is an old temple where the Romans worshipped Apollyon, the destroyer. Is also the Temple of Baal. Baal was proclaimed a demon in the Lesser Keys of Solomon. He was a poorly hoarded king with the power to make men visible and ruled over 60 legions of demonic spirits. I later go to find out that Solomon himself may have been somewhat embodied by these spirits, which I think ultimately are the expressions of Metatron. So if you were to Google pictures of the King of Solomon, what comes up are pictures of Metatron with the King of Solomon superimposed over his face. So I think that there's a legions of demonic spirits and forces, Abaddon, the destroyer, Apollyon, the destroyer, that are connected to the beast machine. So it's not just like you're fighting holographic technology, you're fighting legions of spiritual realms of beings that solely exist to destroy. And so these are the working parts of the beast machines on Earth. And there's the particle accelerators, which are a part of it, but then there's beaming systems that run deeper installations down into the planetary Earth core. I remote viewed this a lot when I was remoting into Giza and some of the Syrian Stargate portals that are over there. And I also the Eye of Sahara. The Eye of Sahara has a link that actually goes down into a greater AI human blood feasting beast machine that's inside of the Earth. And so there's multiple access points to beast machines through man-made artificial reversal stargates that have been made by particle accelerators. It's what opens up those fields. Now, they've been using particle accelerators to open reversal stargates, but I do think there's been other ways that they've been able to open up reversal stargates on the Earth. I don't think it's the only way, it's just one way that I could identify. But essentially, what's at the basis of all planetary modification technology are reversal stargates. These are stargates that are locations on Earth that are functioning in reversal coding. Again, according to the grid work that I do, this is what I focus on trying to heal and correct, collapse, and dissolve, essentially on the Earth. It's a dirty, difficult job. As I told you guys before, it's definitely take a toll on me. And but I'm not giving up on it at the same time. I'm just learning how to protect myself better, I guess, so to speak. But there is no protection on this earth. I'll tell you right now, I've tried a lot of things. I have not found anything equipped strong enough to really, truly protect you from the reversal stargates. I'm just getting an idea right now. Maybe if you were to go from a very ascended stargate, like something like Machu Picchu, get really upgraded and activated in the codes, and then go directly into reversal gate, you might be able to hold a light body field strong enough for a certain period of time to combat the reversal energies. Other than that, you would have to be upgraded immensely before going in, I think. Other than just going in with shields and crystals and things like this, it's not going to be enough to protect you from what's running in these stargates. So, because what's running in these stargates is encoding that simply means anti-life architecture. So it's anti-life purpose. It's everything that's going to go against you. It's coming into contact with the reversal stargate system is the closest one can get to the feeling of being in a black hole or a wormhole on the Earth body. And so they really stir up deep levels of pain, hatred, betrayal, envy, greed. I mean, just anything that's dark inside you that has been unacknowledged will come up to rip and tear through you, through the front of your eyes, through the front of your soul, through the front of your body. And there is no getting around that. They can be some of the most healing and profound life-changing experiences for the better, but you have to get through a lot of shit to get there, basically. So they can, in some cases, really, in most cases, in all cases, what we've seen in DC is they've completely disconnected people from source code. They are the result of a possession and a haunting. And we definitely seen that in the Vatican as well. They may be functional or powered by natural resources, but in most cases, there has been a high level of tampering or infiltration that has been done energetically to the land, in many cases, from alien technology, AI technology, beast machinery, particle accelerators, and all the other planetary hijacking and planetary modification subcategories of tools, of weapons that they've used to implement to siphon or hijack the functionality of that gate system. The reversal energies at some of these sites can be so strong that they do completely disconnect humans from the organic spiritual bodies of the earth and the source of eternal living life. And we completely seen that in Washington, D.C. Zombie cyborgs is definitely the word. Some of these hold the pins and fabrics in the grids to major core world wounding in the earth and continue to run that encoding and trauma and fear bodies into the ley lines, into the major cities. And they emit low frequency energies. I think it's ELF, electrical low frequency, that run crucifixion, persecution, Holocaust, genocidal, artificial intelligence architecture. And this is what, from the Maui fires, from that worst fire that the United States has ever seen, that was an attack, that's what they've ran into the collective now. So crucifixion wounding is running right now. Hence why continual JC removal as a practice is so important, is because this is not something that is a one-time removal. I used to believe it was. It's not. This is stuff that surfaces time and time and time again as we continue to combat the evil and major fallen and descended lineages and races and intruder spirits that continue to regenerate and exist through these gate sites. Baphomet realms, Tothian, Luciferian, satanic Saturn worship has not been eradicated from the planet. So again, all of this is at the basis of planetary modification technology. Most of the reversal gate sites are interconnected to a particular organic stargate site on the Earth. So they can be cleared through organic stargate systems. And so that's what we attempt to do. We continue to try to attempt to do that and take the mission of visiting the organic stargate systems, again, taking those healing and clearing codes to the reversal sites on rescue and recovery missions. So I have some examples, and you can find this on my website. So if you go to IndigoAngel222.com, go to my Gridwork glossary, you can find my examples that I have listed of reversal stargates, which are the core basis that generate and continue to power planetary modification technologies, such as directed energy weapons, such as scalar wave weaponization and beams, things like this. So the Vatican and Rome 5D reversal stargate, CERN in Geneva, Switzerland. This is a 12D reversal gate system, Metatronic artificial intelligence. Kaaba, Mecca, Saudi Arabia, 5D reversal stargate. Stonehenge, Nephilim, AI reversal stargate, 6-dimensional. And there are actually mechanics that are underneath this. There are turning mechanics and wheels that are generating, again, down to an inner core beast machine. There's many layers of control matrices within this. There's actually a Nephilim gridding system that sits on top of that as well, which ultimately goes back to a Nibiruan alien tunneler or wormhole system. Underwater Stargate in Aden is an Orion reversal Stargate. Inishmore, Ireland, 666 wormhole. Bermuda Triangle, 666 wormhole. Statue of Liberty, 666 wormhole. Hollywood, California, Harvesting Gate Site. Silicon Valley, California, AI man-made Stargate. Las Vegas, Nevada, reversal man-made Stargate. Shenzhen, China, AI man-made Stargate. Shanghai, China, AI man-made Stargate. Man-made mounds and mountains and military bases, complexes, CIA, CERN operations, beast machining, secret operations are dug out and held inside mountains and mounds. These can be remotely viewed. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado Springs, Dobbs Air Force Base in Kennesaw Mountains in Georgia. This is how they can go about operations in secrecy. Now, this just reminded me of something. Another planetary modification technology is planetary branding. I just thought about this because of Colorado Springs, made me think of Denver International Airport, is a perfect example of what planetary branding is. So this would be considered a vortice, and what they do is, because they work within the metals, they will brand iron rods in formations of geometry. What Denver International Airport is a swastika. What the swastika is a hijacked draconian implant and seal. So this is what we'll learn about in the implant and seal removal course, is how the Nazis, which were the ones originally contacted by the White Dracos, okay, they were given permission to hijack the swastika symbolism and implant it into planetary branding processes into Antarctica. This is one of the foundations and fundamentals of pole modification. So they're manipulating the poles with this, basically. It's running and distorting timeline perceptions, time perception in general, calendrical systems in general, and our connection to the galactic synchronization of the metagalactic core and our galactic concepts of time, which the Mayans were the ones that discovered that and brought that to humanity. Well, then the Dracos went and re-hijacked the system, so it cut everybody off from that. That's running in the Denver International Airport through planetary branding technology. They have multiple bases of this all over the world. You can look from a aerial viewpoint of the runways and see that the landing strip of Denver International Airport is in the shape of a swastika, and that they're running the iron rods underneath that. Another location of this is in Australia at the Navy base, the Harold E. Holt Navy Station in Australia. they're running a hexagonal planetary branding. So this type of stuff is happening all over the place. There's a lot to that. I do think that these planetary branding technologies also connect into satellite control. So that's another way that they're also modifying things and polluting things is through satellite technology as well. I think a lot of these connect into these planetary branding sites as well. So again, everything's connecting to everything else, creating networks of planetary modification technology. Another one that I wanted to tell you about was the gears of Giza, the center of the machine. So this is one of the major machines of the global planetary beast machine. It's kind of like a power plant that sits in the Great Pyramid of Giza. And it's a machine for the production of power. And they call it a Giza Death Star Trilogy, designed and utilized as a weapon. This is like multiple gears, like gears upon gears upon gears upon gears, all rotating and sitting on top of one another. When I told you that they would have used directed energy weapons to hit the Stargate in the fourth planetary gate system in Giza, they're probably hitting the Giza Death Star Trilogy design to run those transmissions on the 33rd parallel. So this may be what they aim for when using those directed energy weapons when accessing Earth planetary stargate for global catastrophic diabolical plans. And this is basically running inside the pyramids. So this is kind of interesting to me because I've gone to Giza, I've gone to the Stargate, I've thoroughly scanned it holographically. And at the time I was thinking, there's no way they can hijack this Stargate. I mean, it's just too organic, it's too pure. And what you see coming out of the ground and in the sky and in the atmosphere, it's pure. So what they've done is they've hidden the hijacking technology inside the pyramids to siphon off of the energy. And then, of course, we have HAARP, we have weather modification, continued pole manipulation, just telling you about some of the ways they're doing that, solar atmospheric and firmament manipulation, and planetary manipulation, and what they're doing on Mars and the moon bases right now. So, I mean, all of this continues to extend into a vast, wide range of technologies being used additional and connected to all other things mentioned. And ultimately, what these things go back to and what they're all feeding back to is black holes and wormhole systems. So this takes us into the Wisa systems. This takes us into the fallen realms. When people come for J-seal and Draco-seal removals, this is one of the things we often have to clear. We have to clear the open portals in their field that are running their entire energy field into a black hole and wormhole system. So a wormhole may connect short distances such as a few feet, different universes, or extremely long distances such as 1 billion light years or more, and different points in time. A wormhole is a tunnel with two ends, each at separate points in space-time. Nonetheless, anti-life groups used alien technology to tear open wormholes that were blended to create the power required to attempt to pull the Earth's body into a black hole system, leading into the phantom matrix, where they exist. The abuse of technology to rip holes in space-time to create wormholes is harmful and damaging to creation. These often lead to lower dimensional astral warfare realms and rips and holes in the space-time continuum that have been created due to major global catastrophes such as nuclear power plant explosions and atomic bombs. So the atomic bomb is a planetary modification technology. You guys may have just seen the movie Oppenheimer that came out. I went to go see it in the theater. It was so long, 3 hours long. And it was just so political, so much argumentation and so much attack on Oppenheimer for creating the bomb. And he was accused of being with the Communist Party after the fact and all of this stuff. It was kind of an interesting movie. But you could see how the scientists, were infiltrated by the Dracos to create this technology. So it's kind of a good movie to see if you want to understand more of how the interconnections of extraterrestrial negative ETs are working through humans. It's working through us. What makes these sites so detrimental, these wormhole sites, is the many impartial souls, lost spirits, are trapped in these areas of the Earth's field. I talked about that just a minute ago. So that's kind of why they're really bad, is because, again, it's messing with life and death processes here on the Earth. It's causing harvesting and reincarnation traps, and souls are basically getting stuck and not able to, go through these proper processes that are necessary for spirit body liberation in the afterlife. Generally, using the term wormhole refers to an inorganic or alien technology generated wormhole that is harmful to the Earth. There are networks of these that run in the Earth's grid. The most well-known is the 666 wormhole network running in the Atlantic Ocean that is connecting 4 different wormhole locations in the Earth's body. These are the Bermuda Triangle, Statue of Liberty, the Azores, Spain, and Inishmore, Ireland. These 4 locations are the strongest points of wormhole access in the planet. So places like Washington, D.C., places like the Vatican, they're all funneling to feed these wormhole systems to basically take things into the Giza systems and the black hole systems. So also just wanted to mention, then we have crafts, like we have all of these UFOs, we have all of these UAPs. I think the one thing to remember about these, because there's such a blow up of this disclosure narrative, right? I think it's important to remember about the white Dracos. It's important to remember about the Nazis creating the flying discs or the flying saucer in 1938. Okay, you have to go back and kind of research what these groups, these mad scientists, actually did from these times. The Nazis were some of the main groups, again, contacted by the white Dracos. So would we be so crazy not to think that they are using these crafts against the people, against the land? Okay, it was cited that what hit Maui was a laser beam that came straight down from a craft. Okay, and people think that these are UFO sightings. If the dark negative ET reptilian draconian military family can keep people believing that these are ETs, okay, they can keep the infatuation in this, enamoring, it then takes the diversion off of them for being responsible for the crafts and then being responsible for the chaos and diabolical mass destruction on the Earth. So I think it's the dark military that's operating the flying discs and the flying saucers in the sky, and that's what we're seeing, mostly. I think it's probably like 70% of it, to be honest with you. What's interesting is most of these crafts are spotted hovering around military bases. That's where they're most oftenly seen. So if there's a lot of craft activity, there's probably a base somewhere. And that should tell you everything in itself as well. You can greatly learn about these technologies in more detail simply by just doing grid work, because it's going to activate your holographic sense to read what holographic technologies are truly running inside the Earth. So I do teach a course, a Gridworker Facilitator course. You can find that at learn.indigoangel222.com. It's going to highly activate those senses and awareness to understand when and where this stuff is running. Because even just moving down to Pensacola, it took me a little while to realize how much extra negative alien tech was here. And I had all of this Gridworker knowledge. But then I have to kind of like really dive into the research, go into my investigator mode, and it heightens your perception to what's actually going on, to see the typhoon funnels, to see the actual harvesting funnels that are running along the beach areas. So yeah, guys, I hope that this video helps today, maybe with understanding more of how all this stuff is connected, how this is coming to the light in a lot of ways. It's so strange because I was flipping through my YouTube recommended watches and Someone else was kind of doing a video on this as I was writing this yesterday. I was kind of putting all my notes together, what I wanted to talk about. And it just dawned on me that this is something that's awakening within the collective, the awareness of the diversity, of the complexity of these technologies, and how we have to get real about what we do and don't want here on this earth. You know, it does feel like these things are so big, they're so astronomical that it's hard for us to really do anything about it. And again, this is where the grid worker technology comes into play, because this is a spiritual battle. This is a holographic reality. That's what it is at the end of the day. So when we work on these reversal systems, when we work on what needs to be corrected spiritually, we can make a big difference. And I feel like I've provided a lot of examples of this in the past. And I'm going to continue to provide examples of it as I continue to share this information, just to continue to wake people up more to their empowerment, because we're not disempowered. We have tools that we're being given. The spiritual realm always matches the physical development of science, technology, evolution, and weaponization. The spiritual realm always matches it. So we're always being given the tools and the technology to combat on an even playing field, even though it doesn't feel like it. But we do actually have the tools. We just have to implement them. So yeah, guys, I hope this maybe helps in some way if this is something that's been on your mind. And I hope to see you guys in the implant and seal removal class. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get an update out before that class begins or not. So I hope to see you there, because this is where I'm going to be basically giving my all to everyone. And I really look forward to it. I'm so excited. And yeah, so hopefully I get to feeling a little bit better today as well. I'm a little bit hot still and a little bit sweaty, just from my body's trying to recover. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. I'll see you on the next one. Namaste. Take care.